productivity app space is an interesting space anyway. We have a lot of different coverage here from, the Dropbox and Box type tools to some of these signature tools like Adobe Sign and DocuSign.
DocuSign, yeah.
Zoom's in there, but project management tools, we've got Microsoft Project, we've got I believe Rike is in here. We've got some other ones.
Yeah. Yeah,
Monday,
boxes in there, I see.
Monday, yeah. So
Yeah, Monday. Yeah.
give me a sense of what the project management tools look like in your landscape.
A lot of the industry that we are in, we're a Microsoft shop. Almost everybody is
Hmm.
so Teams and Office are ubiquitous.
Sure.
Uh, Love that you've got something like Atlassian there.
Hmm.
I think that they have uh, with the Jira product, they have a tremendous opportunity to move forward and become more ubiquitous in this space. Their
Hmm.
challenge is they're so project management focused
Yeah.
that I need to have a video interface. I need to have
Mm.
a place where I can actually create documentation. I need a place where I can communicate outside my loop. And a lot of firms are uh, teaming up Teams and Office with Atlassian or Teams and Office or Office and Zoom.
Hmm.
So I think there's a lot of combinations there that in your chart show that Microsoft Teams and Microsoft Office are literally off the chart,
Yeah.
where these other firms could be off the chart as well if you looked at them in partnership. But
Hmm.
like a Monday.com and Cinch and
Hmm.
Plivo, those are so specialized that those are all the way over on the other side. You could take a Dropbox
Hmm.
in that same context as well. So I think there's some really good opportunity there, and there looks like there's good growth, but it's really the combination of the two that
Yeah.
really start to drive how all that works. And DocuSign is so ubiquitous.
Hmm. Yeah, for
And
sure.
it really cornered the space early and became the trusted source. So that's something that is, with Adobe right there.
Hmm.
It's I think that's a good competition, and that's a good spot. And you see prices start to drop precipitously in that because of that competition, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And so speaking of these, is this sort of productivity app space that's really the ideal is to be able to mix and match these tools to accomplish the various capabilities you're talking about, because there doesn't seem to be one single tool that does it all that perfectly.
Correct.
With the Atlassian suite, Jira and I guess Trello, sort of two
Yeah.
similar project management tools. There's a lot of integrations they have with Slack and
Mhm.
various things. You can have notifications, but anytime you're connecting two things together with duct tape, it's never going to be as elegant as one single platform. So, um,
Correct.
but it is a solution, and a lot of these do play nicely with other integrations.
Mhm.
So that's a possible way to go. But speaking of this kind of, one place for everything, Microsoft Project is of course part of this Microsoft system. You can
Yep.
argue it could be better integrated with these tools or not, but Microsoft Project, sometimes we hear it's maybe overkill or it's kind of too big and complicated for a lot of needs.
Yeah.
But of course we have other people who are super devoted to it. So any assessment that your organization's done with
You know,
Project?
in my experience, Jira does it's so much more elegant in terms of how it manages that, yeah, how it manages a project and how it integrates so seamlessly with all of the other internal stakeholders,
Mhm.
that when I make a change on a ticket, it instantly goes to everyone that touches that ticket. And so they have a fuller view of everything that's happening on that ticket. Microsoft Project allows you to have the flexibility of who could or could not be on, if I remember correctly.
Mhm.
And that becomes a challenge too, because then I'm curating who's on that list. And I may not be thinking, oh, wait a minute, I need to have legal on this because there's a legal element to this. Jira does that for me. So in my experience with Jira, I really enjoyed that piece. And I didn't necessarily see that with Microsoft Project. And you're right, it's integrating with Office and Teams is not as smooth as it could be, but in the event we were to evaluate something like this, it would be Jira, I think, would be in the front.
Yeah, yeah, interesting. Yeah, and I think partly the reason it's maybe not as elegant as it could be is just a complicated tool that's been around a long time. The projects, it's
Right,
an old.
right, and
I
you know,
used it long ago.
right, and firms in my industry don't necessarily need that kind of muscle. So they look for something that's much smaller, that's much more affordable. So then you've got some of these other folks that are much smaller that click and all of that can be used for very specific project management elements, and it becomes a really neat thing for them to be able to utilize, because it's like, I don't need all the muscle that Microsoft Project or Jira is going to give me. I need something that's, I'm a small shop. I need X, Y, and Z. I don't need A, B, and C too. So I'm really pleased with the industry because they offer such a wide variety of services, whereas in BI, it's so much more bifurcated. You either have to have 6 to 7 figures or 4 figures. And the 4-figure, 5-figure, let's be realistic, the 5-figure one doesn't have all the bells and whistles that the 6 and 7-figure one does. And it's really hard to find that space in between. An opportunity for an organization is to be able to say, we're going to provide more end user functionality and still keep the same level of data integration and APIs, variety that we have now. But the big guys in the BI, they've got all that already. So it's, we were looking at a vendor a couple of years ago, and we were looking at all their APIs, and we said, well, what about this? What about this? What about this? What about this? We're developing it. We're developing it. We're developing it. It's like, all of your competitors have these. Everyone does. And we can't wait for you to develop these. You need them now, or we got to move on. And that was challenging. And I think that's from the BI space is something that we're not seeing in project management. It's so much more variety.